What's
What's
up,
up,
Grizzlies? I'm Damon,
I'm Cody.
and we got a bundle of stories for you. Now, on April 28th, the election for the new Canadian Prime Minister will be finalized. The race is between Mark Carney, the current Liberal Party Prime Minister, and Pierre Poilievre, a member of the Conservative Party. Now, Donald Trump has recently caused some political backlash for this election, because just mere days before Trump started making statements like Canada wouldn't or would cease to exist without the U.S., he's also increasing the tariffs by 25% for Canadian vehicles. Now, as of the day of the election, Trump has been making claims that Canada might as well be the 51st state, and on the day, he made a post on social media joking that he was on the ballot. Many Canadians are outraged at this intrusion on the election. Many people are canceling their trips to the U.S. of it. As of recording, it is election day, so we will keep you updated. Now, our next story is in relate to the Pope. If you haven't heard, Pope Francis passed away from a stroke on Easter Monday, the 21st. His death came after a month from his return from the hospital recovering from double pneumonia. His body is on display from Thursday, the 24th, and Friday, the 25th, which have already passed, but it's for the people of Rome to mourn his death. Then, on Saturday, the 26th, they will have the funeral. After the 2-week mourning period, the College of Cardinals will vote for a new pope. Now, our final story is a fun one. In Cyprus, a man of the name Dinos Kantas broke the Guinness World Record of most wine glasses balanced on their head. The record before was 319, and Dinos increased this to 468 while dancing. Technically, the footage is being reviewed at the moment, but it's sure to be logged as the new world record. Now, that's all I got for you. Off to Cody.
Thank you. Speaking about thank yous, the CEO of OpenAI has come and said it is costing the company millions of dollars of people saying thank you and please to the AI. I guess it really does cost to be nice. Anyway, J.D. Vance has visited Ohio this weekend, and on his trip to Ohio, he was attacked in Ohio. I guess anything happens in Ohio. That's all for local. Off to Henry and Cameron with sports.
Well, thank you, Cuddy. We're going to get straight into it. We have one of the greatest annual events in not just sports news, but all of news and all of entertainment. We have the 2025 NBA playoffs. This is an amazing, amazing sports matchup. You've got 16 teams, whole bunch of history, whole bunch of legends going at it head-to-head for the championship. It is the best thing ever, and you know it.
Excuse me, did you just say that this little bracket is the best thing ever?
Why, yes, I did.
Well, everybody knows that the best thing ever, nay, the best playoffs ever, nay, the best thing to watch on television ever, especially this time of year, is the Stanley Cup playoffs to decide who is the best team in the National Hockey League. And you're on fraud alert, my friend. You're on fraud alert if you say that the NBA is any better. Speaking of frauds and hockey, we have the President Trophy winner, best team in the entire NHL, the Winnipeg Jets, slugging it out with the St. Louis Blues. And right now, the Jets are on fraud alert because they cannot get a firm foothold in this series. The St. Louis Blues, statistically one of the weakest teams, just barely sneaking into the playoffs in the second wildcard slot. Yet somehow, the Jets can't pull one out. Crazy. Right now, the series is tied. The Blues are putting up 6-7 game margins. Not even close. But the Jets are hoping to make a comeback, sweating bullets right now. We'll see if they can actually pull it off. Me, I'm a little bit shaky.
Well, listen, let's talk about Fraud Alert for a second. Fraud Alert, we've got Nico Harrison, the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks, trading away his star player to the Lakers, and the Lakers is also on Fraud Alert because a lot of their bench and kind of lower-level players actually cannot get it done. Let's talk about Austin Reeves for a second. Austin Reeves is one of the greatest, he was one of the best supportive players in the regular season. And now in the playoffs, he's choking. He can't get it done. He's only getting about 10 points per game when he's been averaging about 18. It's one of the craziest fall-offs I've seen in a while. And on top of that, one of their good centers, Jackson Hayes, isn't getting it done either. He just happens to be standing there. He's only getting about 5 points in the playoffs. And they're letting the Timberwolves get ahead of them. They're letting, although Naz Reid is my GOAT, they can't get it done. And honestly, if LeBron and Luka can't step up their game, not just by making points and making plays, but also motivating their team, I don't think they'll even make it to the next round.
Speaking of teams not going to make it to the next round, let's take a second to talk about this matchup right here between the Washington Capitals and the Montreal Canadiens. Right now, this is a legendary matchup because, you know, the most American team, the Capitals, God bless, versus the most Canadian team, the Canadiens. God bless also. Right now, they're duking it out in a slugfest in what is quickly becoming this old world versus new world dynamic as the Washington Capitals, statistically one of the oldest teams in the league, led by Alexander Ovechkin, the most scoring player in the entire NHL of all time, is facing off against one of the statistically youngest teams in the Montreal Canadiens. Right now, the Capitals lead by a not insubstantial amount, showing that maybe the old dog still has some new tricks left in him, but the Montreal Canadiens are not going down without a fight. So this series is very, very interesting to watch, unlike some of these other ones in the East, like this Carolina versus New Jersey stomping that is quickly becoming one of the most embarrassing things to watch every night.
Well, listen, let's talk about new versus old. We're going to talk about what is probably the most entertaining matchup in the playoffs right now. I mean, everything else is kind of an injury slash like sweep fest. I mean, you've got these two. The Thunder absolutely sweep the Grizzlies. The Cavs are about to sweep the Heat. And a lot of the other ones, they're dealing with a lot of foul trouble and a lot of injuries. But you do have the 4 and the 5. You have the Denver Nuggets and the Los Angeles Clippers. This is a battle of new and old. On the Clippers, you have some older stars. You have James Harden, notoriously from the Rockets, for a year was averaging 40. I mean, how do you possibly do that in the NBA? You have to be either the GOAT or you have to be James Harden. And that's James Harden. And you also have Kawhi Leonard, who notoriously went on 2 championship runs, one with the Spurs, you know, with the aging Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, and then one with the 2019 Raptors, you know. Is this the dagger? One of the most famous calls in NBA history. But then you have some newer talent. Nikola Jokic has been in the league for about 10 years, but he's really just now developing into his own. In about 2022, 2023, I forget which year it actually was, but they won the championship, the Nuggets did. And he's got some good help besides him. He's got Jamal Murray, which is statistically, according to Jimmy High Roller, which is a pretty popular NBA YouTuber, the best playoff riser in NBA history. You also have Aaron Gordon, who was the runner-up in the 2016, I believe, NBA dunk competition, who's also just an amazing forward. He can get it done. So this is honestly, it's not even a bloodbath. It's just a very entertaining matchup. So we'll see where this goes. It's tied 2-2. We'll see who pops into the next round.
Well, you know, speaking of slugfest coming out of Texas, let's talk about the real most interesting matchup in this entire series. Right now, we're going to Dallas, and we're checking out Colorado. Right now, Colorado, one of the best statistically favored teams to win the Stanley Cup, facing off against Dallas, who famously choked a 3-goal lead in 1 minute. So Colorado came in, heads held high, thinking they're going to sweep Dallas. They're going to get it done quick, easy business. But guess what? It is a slugfest. I kid you not. Both teams looking mighty bruised as they go into a 2-2 tie, playing again tonight. Right now, no team can get a firm foothold. This is a slippery series. It's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. A lot of OT winners, a lot of OT shots, a lot of shutouts, a lot of big goal margins, a lot of small goal margins. Really, this is the most unpredictable and interesting to watch series in the league. So if you're not into hockey, I recommend checking out whenever these two teams are playing, and you'll see what this sport really has to offer. Speaking of, by the way, injuries, you mentioned there's a lot of those coming out of the Minnesota Mild, or I guess the Minnesota Hot and Spicy, as I call them, because they looked like they were going to get stomped by the Vegas Golden Knights, but it turns out they still got a lot of fight left in them. That series is tied 2-2 also. The Minnesota have been able to pull out these incredible game winners, just led by their captain, who just returned from injury. And right now, this looks like one of the most unpredictable games. I had Vegas going all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, but they might get knocked out first round. We don't even know. Right now, all of this entire West bracket, is the most unpredictable thing in the entire world. So if you ever see somebody with a crystal ball, they say, Colorado's going to win. You know that's a fraud right there.
Now listen, you talked about unpredictability, and in the famous words of Kevin Garnett, who did play for the Celtics actually, anything is possible. And Jason Tatum, the star player from the Celtics, actually stole that quote, made it his own, you know, kind of just copied him. When he won the championship last year with the Celtics, he had the famous quote, "We did it!" And he just kind of became a meme out of that. It was one of the most impressive championship runs, I cannot lie. They did have some really rough talent to go against, including the Dallas Mavericks, okay, let's talk about the Pacers for a second. I don't want to get too off track. I just wanted to get a segue into this, but what's really important is the bruises and the injury. We have to talk about former Portland legend Damian Lillard getting injured with the Bucks. He actually suffered a torn Achilles tendon, and now they've fallen 3-1. The Bucks have against the Indiana Pacers. And it's rough because it's hard seeing, a hometown hero get hurt. But also for Giannis Antetokounmpo, their star player on the Bucks, fans are speculating that he might not even stay with the Bucks if they lose this matchup against the Pacers. I mean, 3-1, it's almost impossible to come back. It's happened once before, but I mean, really, you just have no clue. Like they said, anything is possible, and anything is really possible, except for the Magic. They're just going to lose. There is no chance that they're going to beat the Celtics. The Celtics are an absolute powerhouse on the floor. And the Celtics are actually looking to get a second championship, back-to-back. But they might be stomped. Actually, 4-0, the OKC Thunder wiped out the Memphis Grizzlies, and we almost have a 4-0. It's 3-0 right now with the Cavs and the Heat. So we'll actually see who ends up in the final and who ends up taking the trophy. But my bet is actually on the Thunder getting there. I think with all the young talent that they have and with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they can make it all the way.
So speaking of Damian Lillard and his car dealership he owns here in town, it seems like right now the Toronto Maple Leafs picked up a new ride from that car dealership and used it to run over the Ottawa Senators. Right now, a 3-1 series. The Ottawa Senators have had no time to breathe, no chances of hope, no chance to win this series, although that's what I would be saying if it was any team other than Toronto. I've followed Toronto hockey for a long time, and if there's one thing I know, it's that they will never fail to let you down. So, right now, Toronto looks like they're in prime condition to go all the way and win the Stanley Cup. Heck, I have them going all the way on my bracket, but they might let me down. And that's about all we have, I think, right?
Yep, that's about all we have. So we're going to go ahead and send it back to the desk.
All right, see ya.
Thank you, Henry and Camden, for that great news segment. Now, I've been Damon.
I've been Cody.
And we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, Grizzlies.